everyone, Solomon Chau here. Welcome to February 24th. I've come to the conclusion that I too will be fat and obese, have diabetes, high cholesterol, all the above, just living in standard America. For me, it's New Jersey. But yeah, all the carbohydrates, all the processed foods, the GMOs in the food, all this whatever food, all these seed oils, all these glycogen this, glycogen that, the fact that I'm Chinese, Asian, most of you guys have diabetes because of eating white rice, this and that, this glycemic index, blood glucose levels is out of control, and no one wants to talk about it. It's quote unquote cultural. So, even though I'm thin and skinny, even I can have diabetes. No one would think otherwise, just because, Chinese people are just so shallow that just because they see me, they're like, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. Okay, get the fuck out of here. That's their thinking. As well as most people. I don't blame you. It's just very shallow. But if you do the blood tests and look at the numbers, yeah, my blood sugar levels is a bit high, and my A1C is out of whack. And I did do exercises during the past 3 months before my blood test. Sit-ups, push-ups. I don't think I was running too much because it was just, cold, like 20 degrees, 30 degrees Fahrenheit outside. It was freezing cold. So, yes, I do naturally have higher A1C levels in the wintertime. And whatever, it's getting a little bit warmer, and I have to take advantage of running outside. So, so I'm 40 now, and I just have to blast my way to the track or wherever I can find a safe place to be running. And that's just my life goal. Nothing else makes sense. Make more money, please the Asian Chinese kitchen god. And I'm already 40 years old. If all this Buddha shit was held true, I'd be a millionaire. But obviously I'm just a whatever person in the world, a statistic probably, have you. And I just have to live the best life I possibly can. Will my words even matter? No. I mean, I'm not a millionaire, I'm not a billionaire. I can't be creating some kind of infrastructure that would be the next best thing, close to Whole Foods, or but even then, you got all these seed oils used in the buffet there that they charge like $10 a pound of food, maybe $12. And it's just like, who am I? Everything is already established. Who am I? What would I possibly contribute to society on a few measly thousands of dollars? Not much. A new Chinese restaurant that doesn't use MSG. I mean, what? Not much. No original ideas. Nothing really innovative. That's just sad, but it's true. Nothing. Most people are just fucking useless and just holding their hands on, on dear life with a scarcity mindset. So welcome to my basic bitch life. And two, I'm Asian. There's this one Asian guy on YouTube. He's like, he has $4.5 million, and all he does is fucking sleep in his car and go to Airbnbs once in a while so he can enjoy life, so he can reset his baseline of happiness. And that's the survival money. And he had no goals of contributing to society whatsoever, being this great investor, being the next, generation of Alibaba or some shit. He knew what was up. Just why? Why? It's like you're Asian. You're on survival mode. There's nothing else there for you. There's nothing going to be very innovative. There's nothing going to be, you know, nothing new coming out from you. It's just, you have money, you're just selfish, and that's it. You don't do anything for anyone. You just fit the cookie cutter. You're an engineer, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer. Great. Your grandma's proud of you. Other than that, it's just like, it's all downhill from there. Self-sabotage, burnout. It's just like, what did you really accomplish here? I'm trying to find an answer. Everyone's just trying to find an answer, but it just leads to things like burnout, imposter syndrome. A lot of Asians probably suffer from this. It was never really your goal. It was never really your dreams. It was more of a generational trauma thing. Your parents were poor, they were fresh off the boat or whatever. They were trying to escape communism. The only way out was being a doctor or a lawyer. And you just got sucked into this mind cannon, this vacuum where everyone has to be a doctor or a lawyer to get respect, to get money and, status and stuff like that, to get a girlfriend, to get sex and this and that. And that's the world we live in today. And it's hard to argue otherwise, You just want to be on a team of winners. And, if you dismantle all this shit, and you're just like, it's you, yourself, and you, me, myself, and I, you're just like, fuck this shit. I got the money, and now I'm just going to preserve myself. That would require that you, at some point, have to work out. And this goes for those that are rich and those that are poor. And it's tough. So life is tough for everyone. If you don't work out, your blood glucose levels will be out of proportion, out of biblical proportions. High cholesterol, your chances of having a stroke or heart attack is increased. And that's it. Health is wealth. If you dissolve all this bullshit, what do you have really? What do you have really? If you don't have your health, you have nothing. You have nothing. So, other than exercise, maybe you do exercise all the time. Maybe you do have organic food and, the good stuff and everything tastes like cardboard. You'll be Brian Johnson, just living this life that no one really wants to live because it's not fun. You get to live for a long time. So do old people in a nursing home. Is that the life you want? I mean, it's very hard to live through these things and just say, like, you're not allowed to drink, you're not allowed to smoke, you're not allowed to, pursue risky behaviors. Everything about sex in America is an STD related case. What the? I mean, a single mom this, single mom that. You gotta be so careful and all these wild allegations, and it's just like, what in the fuck? What in the actual fuck? So there's this one fat dude. He's one out of like a bajillion. If you'd see that tiny dot, just like me, he probably came to the same conclusion. Everyone's just bullshitting him. And the only thing he can't run from is his annual wellness test that showed, with blood results that show that he has high blood glucose A1C levels and all that shit, and high cholesterol, and his chances of diabetes, blah blah blah. That's probably the only thing that's the realest thing here. You can keep working, you keep trying to be a lawyer, a doctor, or build affordable housing for everyone. Eventually you'll hit a plateau and you'll be like, oh fuck, I need to, I need to get healthy. I feel sick and fat and shit. Again, it boils down to health is wealth, and it always comes back down to that point of reality where you got to be working out, eating right, sleeping, and maybe Brian Johnson's right. Our priorities are just fucked up. Or maybe you do want to, live this baller lifestyle, eat at McDonald's or, some kind of fast food, Five Guys restaurant all the time, and because it makes you happy. And then you get fat as fuck, and you just come to the realization this fat shit I'm doing is taking over my life, and, I don't feel too proud of myself. And you want to lose weight, and it's just like one problem from fast food, just because you're enjoying yourself, this creates another problem. Now you want to lose all the weight, and it's just like you can't have it all. You just can't have it all. You can't have it all. So you either live like Brian Johnson, like you're an old person in a nursing home taking 100 vitamin pills and medications every day, or you do it the hard way. You find out the hard way. You're eating at McDonald's, Burger King, doing all this crazy shit, and then you get fat as fuck. You can't see your pee-pee anymore because you got a bulge coming out of your gut, and then one day, you step on the beach and you're just like, man, I'm the fat guy. And you're just like, I gotta change my ways. And it's just like, you don't want to learn the hard way. Once you get to that point, it's very hard, to get fit and slim and a six-pack that everyone wants. And it's just like, shit, there's got to be a smarter way to be living life. And it's very complicated. And it's just like, what is the right way? A balanced life. So you got to work, on your craft and your career, make money. And then outside of that, you just power through your fitness. You just have to find time each and every day to be working out, or you're gonna turn into that guy, that fat guy that no one wants to be. And it's just like, shit, that is the truth. Or you're comfortable being that fat guy. I don't know. I don't want to be that fat guy. That's all I really know. I got fat phobia. And I know I don't want to be the guy with diabetes. So, just do your best. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Health is wealth. See you in the next one. Peace out.